Okay, let's go to page 133 in grammar. Sorry, I got a tickle this morning. I think it's allergies. Everything is blooming outside. Okay, page 133. We are talking about the who, which clause. The good news is you already know about that. This is just review. So a who, which clause adds detail to a sentence. It is a dependent clause, which means if you remove the who, which clause, you will still have a sentence. So it says to do a little activity here. Combine the two sentences by changing one into a who which clause. So basically, you're going to put them together and add who or which and make it make sense. Okay. There's more than one way to do this. So the two sentences in this one are the outlaws distrusted the stranger. The outlaws rushed to help Robin. So if you have an idea of how to combine those with who or which, raise your hand and let us know what you think. You're going to combine these two using who or which. Okay, Camila, what's your idea?
The outlaws who distrusted the stranger rushed to help Robin.
Good. I like that one. The outlaws who distrusted the stranger. That sounds like a tongue twister. Rushed to help Robin. Any other ideas out there? Oh, excuse me. Oh boy. Let's put that one. Oh, my allergy pills have not kicked in yet. All right, where are we at? Okay, so we're just gonna rewrite this. That outlines, we'll just go with Camila's idea. I like her idea. Who distrusted, I'm gonna have to use more space here. The stranger, comma. Remember, there's commas around the who clause. That's because you can take it out and it still makes sense. The outlaws who distrusted the stranger, comma, rushed to help Robin. What about the next one? Somebody different this time. The water flowed under the bridge. The water moved swiftly. How can we combine it and use who or which there in those two sentences? Raise your hand if you have an idea. The water flowed under the bridge. The water moved swiftly. So what you're trying to do is combine those two sentences and use who or which in there. Okay, Harmony, what's your idea?
The water which moved swiftly flowed under the bridge.
Yes, I love it. Perfect. The water, good job. Which, we're going to use which this time because we're talking about a thing, which is water, which moved swiftly, flowed under the bridge. And the other way you could do that one is the water which flowed under the bridge moved. Excuse me. Moved swiftly. Oh boy. It's always hard when you're a teacher doing all the talking and your throat doesn't want to cooperate. Complete the who which clauses. Remember to indicate or include commas. There are multiple right answers. So this one says Robin blank was drenched Wait, complete the who, which clauses. Oh, this is just the who, which clause, so it's not like the whole sentence. Robin blank was drenched. The bridge blank was just a log. So what can we put here? Robin, when we're talking about a person, I know you guys know this. It's who, right? You use who. Maybe we can complete the sentence right here. Who, what was drenched? Any ideas on what we could put in this who clause? Who, what was drenched? Maybe what happened to him before he was drenched? Who, oh, good. Go ahead, Camila. You got an idea.
Who lost the battle?
Who lost the battle? Yep, that would work. Or maybe who fell into the river, something like that. Either way. And I'm going to put commas around it. Robin, who fell into the river, was drenched. How about the other one? The bridge, which blank was just a log. You're going to use which because you're talking about a thing now. What could we say about the bridge? The bridge, which was, how about Caden or William? You guys are pretty quiet this morning. Want to make sure you're awake over there. It looks dark. Maybe you're still waking up. Maybe you're eating. I don't know. Harmony, do you have an idea for this one? The bridge, which blank was just a log?
Bridge, which moved swiftly, was a log.
Okay. Which moved, maybe the bridge was moving, which moved swiftly was just a log. Yeah. Or maybe which was wobbly or something. You know, if you think about a log being a bridge, it's not going to be easy to cross, right? Something like that. Wobbly was just a log. Anyway, there's lots of answers you could put there. It's just practice for you to come up with some different who, which clauses. Okay, so let's move on to 135. How about Camila? Could you read the sentence, please?
Suddenly, shouts were heard in the distance. Branches rustled, and 20 strong outlaws burst from their hiding places.
Okay, good. Rustled is the vocabulary. That's a ED word. That's a verb. And it means to make sounds, maybe from the wind or being moved around, you know. The branches rustled. So just making noise, like maybe an animal's in there, and obviously the outlaws were in there moving. So check vocabulary. There's one article. Go ahead and find that. And then how about harmony? Where are the 5 nouns?
Read them all to her. Shouts,
Yes, good.
distance,
Good.
branches,
Yes.
outlaws,
Yes.
places.
Yes, good job. Some of those were a little tricky because they might sound like shouts might sound like a verb, but you're right. Very good. You're really good at that, Harmony. The shouts were heard, so it's a thing here. And distance, the distance. Okay, good. Those are the nouns. How about the adjectives? William, good morning. I see you. How about the 4 adjectives? Where are those at?
20.
Okay, good, but we got to fix that, huh? We got to actually write that out. Remember, because anytime you can express a number with one word. So how do we spell it?
EWENTY.
Good. So, and yes, that is an adjective. So let's fix that. Okay, what else?
Strong,
Good.
fighting,
Good. Whose hiding places was it? And it's also spelled wrong.
there.
There, yes. And that one is spelled wrong too. So how can we fix that?
Spell it THEIR.
Good. And that is an adjective. Nice, because it's telling whose places, whose hiding places was it? It was their hiding place. All right, that was oh, there's one more. Or did we get them all? Oh, we got them all. We got them. Sorry, my bad. We fixed the number. We fixed the homophone. Now we're to the adverb. So, Harmony, where's the adverb?
Suddenly.
Suddenly, good. Kaden, are you able to do the coordinating conjunction? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
watching my cat, so sometimes I have to like go see if he's okay. But yeah, I can do it.
Oh, okay. Okay, where's the coordinating conjunction?
And
Good. See? And then what about the Camila? Are you still there? Okay, what about let's skip down to the verbs next. Where are the verbs? Oops, you're muted.
Heard,
Yes, heard.
rustled,
Yes.
burst.
Good. There's one more helping that's near
Were.
heard. Yeah, were. So were heard goes together. And then how about William? Where are the subjects for those verbs? Who was it or what were heard in the distance?
Uh, shouts,
Shouts were heard. And then how
outlaws, and branches.
outlaws, burst, and branches rustled. Yep. Good. A lot of times, most of the time, the subject's going to be before the verb. So that's the clue if you struggle with finding those, but you guys did great on that. How about the prepositional phrases, Harmony? Where are those at?
Places.
Oregon.
From their hiding places
Good.
in the distance.
And in the distance. Nice. Excellent job. How about main clauses? Caden, where are the main clauses?
Suddenly in the and then to distance.
Actually without suddenly because that's an opener, so it's going to be shouts to distance, actually. Okay, sometimes we don't, well, most of the time we don't use the opener in the main clause. That's one.
Branches rustled.
Good, nice. Yes, that's just one main clause in the last one.
Strong.
It's going to start at 20.
Oh. And then to places.
Yes, very good. So we just have a CC, a coordinating conjunction in between the two. It's connecting two main clauses right there. Good job. Two openers. How about William? What are the openers?
Uh, 3.
Which is what opener?
LOI adverb.
Good. LY adverb. And then what's the other one?
subject out.
Right here is one subject. Yes. Good. Capitals, you guys can do that part. Branches. There is one comma rule. Camila, where does the comma, what do we do? We take one out or put one in? What do we need to do?
After Russell.
After Russell, very good. Because when you are connecting two main clauses, there needs to be a comma before the CC. Very good. You got it. And then the end mark is there. All right, you guys, not so bad. So homework again is day 2, 3, and 4 for your homework this week. And give me a thumbs up if your mom actually did print out the packet for today, just so I can get a feel for who has the packet. Okay, I see one. It's okay if you don't. I just want to check and see. Okay, so William, it looks like you're the only one. That's okay. I'm going to show you on the screen and we'll look at it that way. But just so you know, you will need to print that for your homework this week. So I emailed all the parents. You don't have to print the whole packet because it's like 17 pages long. You just print, I told you in the email which pages to print. So it's not that many. So we are going to take a break from the history book and talk about the state test. Now, I know you guys are all in older grades, so you are familiar with the test. You've done it before. Every student, pretty much every student in the state of California is required to take this test between third grade and 12th grade, basically. So some students work out a different plan, so that's okay, but most students are taking the test and the window opens up at the end of March and it goes through to the end of May. So I don't know when you're going to take the test, but it's coming up pretty soon. If you guys could turn your cameras on, it would really help me out a lot so I could see that you're there. If not, like Caden, I know you got stuff going on in the background. It's okay, but if you can turn them on, go ahead and turn them on. We are going to practice for the writing part of the test. So, okay, I see that note. You're mostly going to take two main parts of the test. It's going to be math and language arts. And the language arts part of the test has two parts to that, reading and writing. And since I'm your writing teacher, I'm going to help you with the writing part. And we're just going to prepare for it. We're just going to do a couple lessons with it, and then you'll be good to go. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So depending on your grade, that will depend on what type of essay you might get. And there's choices. I don't know which one you're going to get. It might be an opinion style essay, and that's when you give your opinion about something. Like if I were to say cats are better than dogs, that's an opinion. Or if I were to say dogs are better than cats, that's an opinion. But you might disagree with my opinion. But that is what the style of essay you might have where you give an opinion. It'll tell you what about. And then your paper will support that opinion. You might have something called argumentative essay. That's similar to opinion, where you make a statement about something. And then you defend what your statement is about something. Today, we're going to practice an informative essay. More than likely, you'll have something like that, but I'm not going to promise you because I don't really know. So we're going to practice a couple different styles of essays, but this week we're going to practice informative. And that's going to be pretty familiar to you because most of your writing in my class is informative. Like when we write about the preamble, there are some opinions in that one. Let me give a better example. Like when we wrote about transportation, for example, that was informative. You looked at information and you put it together in a 5-paragraph essay. And that is what informational essays are basically. You're going to read articles and you're going to basically summarize it, giving facts and information about something. So that's where we're going to start today. When you, some of you are with Heartland Charter. If you're with Heartland Charter, you're going to do the test on Zoom with your HST. If you're with Valley Oaks Charter, you'll go to the school. They'll give you a time to go and do the test there at the school. But when you log in, they're going to help you log in. So you don't have to worry about how to do all that stuff. They'll walk you through that. Okay. And then when it's time, you get to it's called the performance task. That is the name of the writing portion of the language arts performance task. They will then say, you may now begin the test once you get all situated and all logged in. And the one thing you can have with you is paper, but it has to be blank, right? Blank lined paper is all you can have with you when you take these tests. So everything's got to come from up here. So for the writing test, I'm going to help you put down some notes before you even start doing the test. So you need 2 pieces of lined paper. I know we don't normally use that in this class because we have our book, but go ahead and I'm going to give you a minute to get 2 pieces of lined paper, or you can use a notebook if you have a notebook. But you need 2 clean pieces of lined paper right now to practice putting down some notes. So once you have your paper and a pen or a pencil, give me a thumbs up. Okay, good. Good. Okay. So they might let you use a whiteboard too. I've heard that some teachers are letting students have blank whiteboards with whiteboard markers. So you might have that too, but I want you to use the paper. Good, I see that. So you're going to use some scratch paper. Use this when you do math, but you're going to use it also for your writing part of the test. So the first thing I want you to do when they say you may now begin the test, the first thing I want you to do before you even read the directions or anything on the test is make yourself a checklist for your writing. So at the top of your scratch paper, I just want you to write the word checklist and underline it. And the reason why we're making a checklist is because I want you to do your best to include words from your checklist, because that will level up your grade, or your score, I should say. That'll level up your score by a lot. If you use these types of words in your writing for the test, it'll increase your score automatically. So on the left, let's just put dress ups. That's what we call it on our checklist. And now I want you to think on your own. I'll give you the first one, but think of all the types of dress ups that you have. The first one is ly adverb, and you don't have to go in order. So I want you to just take a minute to think back. Don't look at any checklist right now. Try not to look at any. But think about all the words that you usually underline in your papers, all the dress ups you can think of, and make your list. Give me a thumbs up when you put down as many as you can remember. Yes, Camila?
Does that openers?
Not yet. We'll do openers in another list. Good question. So just try to think of your dress up words first. Try not to look at your actual list. See how many you can remember by yourself. Okay, let's just check in. Kaden, what do you have on yours so far?
I think I have all of them.
Okay, what do you got?
I have ly adverb, who, which clause,
Okay.
because clause,
Okay.
strong verb, quality adjective, and the Asia words.
Good, strong verb. On your checklist, it's Asia together, but if you have it separate, that's okay. Asia.b is on your list. And quality adjective. I think that is all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, because you have 5 since we combine this one. But if you wrote it separate because clause, that's okay. And if you, on the day of the test, if you only remember 3, that's okay too. Don't let this part stress you out. I just want to make sure you write down all the dress ups you can remember on your checklist because this will help improve your score. And then, like Camila said, let's skip 2 lines here and let's put sentence openers. And let's list the types of sentence openers that you can remember here. Technically, right now you have 4 on your checklist, but try to see how many you can remember of the 4. Okay, William, what do you have on your list of openers?
Clause opener, preposition opener, ly adverb opener, and then VSS.
Clausal, sorry, I had trouble with that word. Clausal, and then you said ly adverb? Prepositional and VSS? Good. And if yours is in a different order, that's okay. You're right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. If you think of others from your grammar book, that's okay too. All right, so that's it for your checklist. So over here in the margin, and for your, let's see, let me check your grade really quick. Check something really quick. Okay, sorry, I had to check something really quick. So for your essay, I want you to write 5 paragraphs for your essay. That will help with your score as well. But here's the other thing, don't let that scare you, okay? Because honestly, you can use all the time you need on the test. So you'll have a testing window, and that will be like the Zoom call if you're doing Zoom, or if you go to Valley Oaks, they'll say, okay, you have a 2-hour block to work on it. And you can work on it, but don't rush. If you're not finished within that time frame, they'll just schedule another Zoom or another time to meet with you. So it is not a timed test. So you don't have to rush. Ideally, you should do 5 paragraphs. If you do at least 3, that's good too. So 3 to 5 paragraphs on your essay. And the reason why I want you to write this down, the first thing you do when you sit down to take the test is to get it out of your head and on the paper. And you don't have to try to remember this. On the left, right here in the margin, and it's going to be kind of tight, I want you to write 1 through 5. And this can be to represent your paragraphs. Okay. And this is where you can, next to like ly adverb, you put one in paragraph 1, put a little check there, not now, but when you do it. Okay. To keep track of making sure you include these things in your checklist. Okay. That's just for you to help you, gives you a plan. The next thing I'm going to have you do is set up your keyword outline. This is before you even start with reading the directions on the test. So since this is scratch paper, we're not going to worry about name and date and all that. I'm just going to have you write a Roman numeral 1 and then 1 through 5. And you're not going to use clincher on this one because Roman numeral 1 will be your introduction paragraph. So we're just going to leave Roman numeral 1 like this. And then skip a line. Let's do Roman numeral 2, 1 through 5. And clincher. And this one will have your topic up here. That'll remind you, oh yeah, my body paragraphs. Remember, your body paragraphs are the ones in the middle. You've got 3 in the middle. Roman numeral 1, I forgot to have you right here in the margin. Just put intro. This is your introduction. Okay, so that's actually, you're going to write that part later. You'll start with your body paragraphs. Okay. Skip a line, Roman numeral 3. And you're going to do topic clincher again on this one. So you're going to do 1 through 5. And clincher. And then Roman numeral 4. And then I'm going to do my Roman numeral 5 on the back. So after you get, these are your body paragraphs, 2, 3, and 4. These are the middle paragraphs. By the way, just to give you a heads up, these are the paragraphs you're going to focus on for homework this week. We're going to talk about the introduction and conclusion next week. So we're just going to focus on the 3 body paragraphs this week. On the back, go ahead and do Roman numeral 5. This is conclusion. And remember, your introduction and conclusion do not need topic clinchers. While you're finishing this, on the test, you do not need to underline and highlight and number your sentence openers and all that because the people grading it will not know what all that means. So for practice this week in homework, you do not have to label those things. You're just going to include them in your writing, but you don't have to label them. Okay, we're going to pretend like you're writing for the test. This is just practice. Thumbs up if you got your KWO written out and your checklist written out. Good. Yes, Kaden?
Sorry, I meant to put a thumbs up.
Okay, no problem. So that's what I want you to do. As soon as your teacher says you may now begin the test, the first thing you do is make your checklist. The second thing you do is make your outline. Get it all ready. Now you have a plan. Now you start the test. Okay, so that's what I recommend as your writing teacher. This is going to help you so much on the test. So let me show you what it's going to look like. And by the way, if taking a test kind of stresses you out a little bit, that's okay. I remember when I was your age taking these tests, and I used to get worried about it and stressed about it. That's normal. You got to work through that though, okay? Don't let that stop you. You can do this. And remember, you're not alone. Everybody in our class will be doing it, and other students all over California will be doing it. So you're not alone. The other thing I want to make sure to remind you is that this test does not define whether you move on to the next grade or you make it to a certain grade in your education. It does not determine like how you're doing right now in this class or in your other classes. So it is just something that the state requires students to do, and you're going to give it your best. And then when it's all done, you take a deep breath and maybe go out and have some ice cream and celebrate being done with it. And then move on with life, okay? It's really not that huge of a deal. I do want you to do your best on it. I know your parents want you to do your best too, but don't let it get to you where you're stressed, okay? Just take a deep breath. This is cool because you can take little breaks throughout the test if you need to. I recommend getting a drink of water and walking around. And if you're at home doing a Zoom call test, you can go pet your cat or your dog and just kind of take a break, just a short one. Do some jumping jacks. something like that, and then come back and it'll refresh your brain. So it's okay to take little breaks. I'm just trying to help prepare you guys so you know what to expect when you sit down for the test. So for today, I'm just going to log in as a guest because we're doing a practice, and this is a practice that anybody can do. So it's not the actual test, but it's going to look like the actual test. So I'm just going to click through and get things set up real quick for you. And let me check something really quick. I think it's this one. And don't worry if you're not in fifth grade, don't worry about that. These tests are pretty similar as far as the practice goes. So we're going to just use the fifth grade one for today, okay? And I know you can't hear that sound because I didn't share my sound with you, but you'll hear a do 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 do. Okay, Kaden, yes.
Do you know how many tests there are?
I do. There are two main subjects they're going to test you on, which is math and language arts. And within those two tests, there's two other tests. So there's four parts basically all together. Yeah. And you'll probably do each part on a different day. Some teachers might combine some parts together. So I don't know how many days of teaching you'll have, but probably around 4 days of testing. Yes, Camila?
I think we're doing science too, right?
Not all students are doing science, but I can't remember. I think it might be fifth grade and eighth grade, maybe. So yeah, if you're in fifth grade, there will be a science part of the test too. I'm not 100% sure, so you might want to check on that. Sometimes they change that grade for some reason, but unless somebody else knows. Okay. So this probably looks familiar to you. This is how they set it up for the test. It's still going to look the same. I'm just going to walk you through what you're looking at so that when you do it on the day of the test, you're like, oh yeah, I remember how to do this. On the left here, this is where the student directions are. And this topic or subject, I should say, is service animals, opinion, performance, tasks. So earlier I said it was going to be an informational one, but it's actually opinion. You're going to be writing, oops, hold on. Maybe I pulled up the wrong one. Uh-oh, hold on a second. William, I know you have yours printed. Is your packet about napping? I think I pulled up the wrong one. Can you unmute and tell me? Because I think I pulled up the wrong one. Can you look at your packet really quick, William?
It says napping.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys. I'm doing too many different levels here. Let me see if I can. The wrong one. I'm sorry, guys. Hang on just a second. I think I did. Okay. The practice what I'm going to have you guys do is seventh grade, actually. Let me pull it up really quick so you can look at that one. I pulled up the wrong one. And if you want to go practice other tests, this is available for the public, so you can practice other tests. Practice and training tests for students. Here we go. Let me try this again and I'll show you my screen. Got it. It's not service animals this time. It's about napping. And it is an explanatory paper, which means it's going to be like an informational one where you're going to explain something and we're going to talk about napping and sleeping. And notice on the right side of your screen, there's a 1 and a 2 in the right side corner here. This is part 1 of the test, and there are 2 sections here. So you can see the 1 here. Before you read everything on the left side of your screen, you're going to read what they want you to do first. So you can get it in your head to know how you're going to answer this question. And by the way, when you see a small box like this is considered a short answer. You only need 3 or 4 sentences here. This is not where the big essay goes. So you've got this short answer. It basically says, explain how the table in source number 1 supports information provided in the 2 other sources. Cite evidence and identify the source of each piece of information by title or number. Okay, now we know we're going to look for a table. So on the left side of your screen, if I scroll down, I can see part 1 and I see source number 1 and I see a table. This is a table of information. On the left, we see age. On the right, recommended amount of sleep. So you would look at this table. Newborns require 16 to 18 hours a day. That's a lot of sleep, but their bodies are growing. There's reasons why they need that much sleep. Preschool age children, that's around 4 years old, 11 to 12 hours a day. School age children, that's between like 5 years old and 12 years old. Those students need about 10 hours a day. And then teens, that's 13 through 19, about 9 to 10 hours a day. And then adults, 7 to 8 hours a day. Notice the numbers get smaller. And this is what they recommend for a healthy amount of sleep. Now, getting that much sleep is a challenge for some people, including myself, but this is ideal. So it says, explain how this table right here, supports information provided in the 2 other sources. So this was source 1. If I scroll down, you will also see source 2, the secret truth about napping. And you'll see source, did I pass it? Oh, I think it's down more. Source number 3, ask the sleep doctor. Now, I know we practiced some testing last year. Do you guys remember writing about sleeping and napping last year? Some students might have done this. Okay, it looks like you don't remember. That's fine. This is interesting. So it's kind of cool to be able to read about this. So what you'll do, I'm just walking you through this part, is read now all 3 sources. And then you're going to especially pay attention to this chart, this table. And then you're going to look for information to support that. So in source 2 and 3, they'll talk about why newborns need so much sleep. That would be an example of information that would support that. Okay. And we'll go through this a little bit more next week, but I wanted to just show you how it's set up here. If I click, if after I type something in here, 3 or 4 sentences, then you click over to number 2 here on the side. And then you've got a chart that looks like this. Click on the boxes to show the claims that each source supports. Some sources will have more than 1 box selected. And so here's the claim on the left. If you take too long of a nap, you might feel sleepy. That's the claim, that's the statement. They want you to look at source 1, source 2, and source 3 to find which of those articles talks about that. And it says some will have more than 1 box selected. So there might be 2 articles that talk about it. There might be all 3 that talk about it. You have to go back in over here and you're going to have access to this side the whole time. You can scroll up and down and look for it and read it through, and you might even remember it as you're reading the first time through. And all you're going to do is check the boxes that talk about that. The next claim, if your sleep patterns interrupt your body's internal clock, you might have trouble getting enough sleep. Look back and find which article talks about that. Put a check mark. The last one, a deep sleep helps the brain to operate at a higher level. Which article talks about that? Take your time on this when you do it for real. This is just for practice, so we're not going to do it right now. We're just talking about it. But take your time, find where these things are, click the boxes where you found that information. It's pretty easy because it's right there. It just takes time, that's all. Okay. So when you finish with number 1 and number 2, you're going to click next. And I'm going to pause this for a second because I'm just going to pick random answers so it'll let me go on, because it won't let you go on to number 3 until you actually finish this part of the test. Okay, so when I click next, it takes me to number 3, which is actually part 2 of the test, which I'll share with you now. This is the essay part. So the good news about the language arts performance task is you're only going to have 3 things to do. That's it. You're going to probably have a short answer where you have 3 or 4 sentences, just like number 1. You'll have a chart where you have to check the boxes of which sources talk about what information. After you finish that, you move on to 3, and this is the last part of the test. So you don't have like 50 things to do, okay? So you have just 3, which is nice. This is the part where you'll do your big essay. If I scroll down on the right, you're going to see a much bigger box here. On the right, this is where you type your essay. If you need more space than you have in the box will extend with you. So don't worry if you feel like you're getting toward the end of the box, it'll move. And this is where I recommend 5 paragraphs. Okay, at least 3 paragraphs, but try to get 5 if you can. And we have your outline all set to go on your scratch paper. So again, you're going to check the student directions under number 3, napping explanatory performance task. So this is part 2. You will now review your notes and sources and plan, draft, revise, and edit your writing. That's what you're going to do with your KWO. You may use your notes that you write down and refer to the sources. Now read your assignment and the information about how your writing will be scored, and then begin your work. So here's your assignment for the big essay. And it says, and it's just giving you a scenario. Now that you have completed research on the topic of sleep, and this is after you've read everything on the left, okay? The Journalism Club advisor has asked you to write an explanatory article about sleep and naps for the next issue of the school newspaper. The audience for your article will be other students, teachers, and parents. Using more than one source, develop a thesis controlling idea. I'll tell you what that is in a second, to explain about sleep and naps. Once you have a thesis controlling idea, select the most relevant information from more than one source to support your thesis controlling idea. Then write a multi-paragraph explanatory article explaining your thesis controlling idea. Clearly organize your article and elaborate your ideas. Unless quoting directly from the sources, use your own words. Be sure to reference the source title or number when quoting or paraphrasing details or facts from the sources. And this is going to tell you how they're going to score it. And you can look at this another time on your own, but we're going to focus on what the assignment is. Okay, so you're writing about sleeping and napping. And in order to come up with your thesis or controlling idea, it's important that you read all the sources first. That's going to be your statement about sleeping and napping. And it might be something as simple as, it is important to get enough sleep to stay healthy. Could be something as simple as that. A statement that you're going to use the rest of your paper to support. Okay. So the next step then is to get your KWO ready. So I'm going to stop sharing this for a second and we're going to look at your notes. Are there any questions right now, by the way, with what we're talking about? Kaden, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't have a question, but I have to go because I have another
Oh,
class right now.
okay.
But thank you very much.
You're welcome, Kaden. I'm recording, so if you need to watch it later, you can. And have
Okay,
a good
thank
day.
you.
Okay, you're welcome.
You too.
Bye-bye. I'm going to put a sample thesis up here. So at the very top margin of your paper, let's put that word thesis right here. A thesis is a statement. And I'm going to suggest this, but if you want to reword it, you can. I'm going to say, getting enough sleep is, and kind of write small, important to staying healthy. That's my suggestion, but if you decide later you want to change that, you can. Getting enough sleep is important to staying healthy. Or you could say in order to stay healthy or to help you stay healthy. There's lots of ways of saying that. I just kind of came up with that on the fly there. Something about sleep and staying healthy, okay? And it's a statement. So today we're not going to do the introduction. We're going to just jump down here to the body paragraphs. The easiest way I recommend you do this is put the title of each article next to your Roman numeral. So if I scroll down, and William, I know you have it printed, and in the printed copy, it's going to be on page 3. Source number 1 is titled, How Much Sleep is Enough? On your outline, this is the easiest way to do it. I know it's more than 3 words, but I want you to just put on Roman numeral 2, how much sleep is enough? We're just going to write the name of that article. That way you stay super organized. So under this, you will find 5 facts in the whole article called How Much Sleep is Enough. And what information you choose here is going to support the thesis that getting enough sleep is important. Okay, that's what you're supporting. So you're going to find examples and keywords to support the importance of getting enough sleep. Okay, and then for Roman numeral 3, I'm just going to give you the topics and you're going to work on your details and facts about each topic. So if I go back to my test on the left, if I scroll down, and William, you're going to find that on another couple pages, so flip through your packet, look for source number 2, The Secret Truth About Napping. I would put that for Roman numeral 3. The Secret Truth About Napping. I know that's more than 3 words, but for the sake of the test, this is the easiest way to do it. Write down the titles here. And you can still use the name of the title in a sentence for your paragraphs. You can say, did you know there is a secret truth about napping? You can use the words from the title in your sentences. This will help you. Inside source number 2, called The Secret Truth About Napping, you're going to look for 5 interesting facts that support your thesis. Getting enough sleep is important. When you write your facts here, you will still do those 3 keywords and numbers and symbols and abbreviations. Those are all free. If you have to use a 4th word, use a 4th word. This is for your notes only. This will help you come up with your paragraphs, okay? And then Roman numeral 4 is going to be the next article or source number 3. So, William, if you flip through your packet, you'll find the third one. The third one is here on the left. Source number 3 is called Ask the Sleep Doctor. Write that on Roman numeral 4 of your keyword outline. Ask the sleep doctor. Now, this is the easiest way to do this. So that's why this writing test is actually pretty easy. The worst thing about it is it's going to take some time. So get it in your head that you're going to sit down for a couple hours. It's going to take you some time to put all this together. Do not rush. Do not rush, especially on this writing part. Take your time. So I want you to circle Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 3, Roman numeral 4. Those are your body paragraphs. That is your homework this weekend, or this week. Maybe the weekend. But anyway, your homework is to, first of all, ask your parent to print the packet so you have it. You can use the packet, you can highlight in the packet, you can underline, you can make notes on the packet. That way you have it physically in front of you. I emailed your parents. I'm also going to attach it to the Google Classroom. You find it either way. You're going to read each source. The one that's called How Much Sleep is Enough is source 1. Find in the whole source, you're going to find 5 things, 5 details that support getting enough sleep is important. Then you're going to read source number 2 called The Secret Truth About Napping. In the whole source, you're going to look for 5 interesting facts. Now, as you're reading these sources, you might underline 10 because you might be like, wow, this is good and that's good. I've got 10 things I want to include. Just pick your 5 favorite from the 10. You don't have to write about all 10. Okay, we got to keep it really concise for this test. That's what they want. Okay, it's not about how much you're writing, it's about how detailed, like specific you are. So pick your 5 favorite facts, list them here like we always do. Then read source 3 called Ask the Sleep Doctor. Pick out your the 5 most interesting facts in that article that support getting enough sleep is important. And then from there, you'll write 3 paragraphs this week. Don't worry about introduction and conclusion yet. We will work on those next week. I know you got to go, William, but that's your assignment this week. Any questions before you guys go? I know that was a lot. Yeah, you guys got this. You still have another week or so or 2 before you actually take the real test. So you got this. All right, you guys. Have a great week. See you next week. Bye, Harmony.